Hello everyone. This video is the part 2 of the chapter Interior of the Earth. Plate tectonics. The ground beneath our feet is always moving. We don't feel this movement, but we can see the result of this movement almost everywhere. The Earth's crust is what moves. Our planet outer shell is not one piece, but instead it is made up of individual pieces. Plates, they were all part of the continent that broke up over 200 million years ago. Since then, it hasn't stopped moving. This is called tectonics. Plates that cover with soil is continental plate, and plates that are covered with water are oceanic plates. The movement of this plate causes earthquake and volcanic eruption. In the early 20th century, a scientist named Alfred Wegener called this subcontinent Pangaea. He thought different chunks of it broke off and slowly moved apart over the millions of years. They formed the continent that we know today. Where two plates meet, a plate boundary or plate tectonic occurs. There are three main types of plate boundaries: convergent boundaries, divergent boundaries, and transform boundaries. A convergent boundary where two plates collide, a divergent boundary where they pull apart, and transform boundary where they slide past each other. Let's talk about these three boundaries in detail. Convergent plate boundaries occur when two plates collide with each other. There are two major types. First is continental to continental. These occur when two plates of continental collide, they buckle, and they form mountains. Next, we have continental to oceanic collisions. When the plates of the oceanic crust collide with the plate of the continental crust, the oceanic crust is more thick and subject beneath the continental crust. The magma from the melted oceanic crust rises to the surface, and this resulted in the volcanoes over the surface of the earth. Next, we have divergent boundaries. This is when two plates move away from each other. The separation allows the asthenosphere rises towards the surface, partially melts. This melting creates magma, which erupts in the form of lava. Lava cools and solidifies to create new rock. It creates oceanic floor or new continental crust. Most of these divergent boundaries are located on oceanic floors. However, the rift valley may also form when the continental is separated from each other. Transform boundaries occur when two plates move past each other horizontally. When the plates move next to each other, they do not go along smoothly. Instead, they move away from each other. This sudden movement crush the rock, and this can be felt as earthquakes. Unlikely from other types of boundaries, the transform boundaries generally do not produce magma. The San Andreas cracks in California is a major transform boundaries. So there we go with the three types of plate boundaries: convergent, divergent, and transform. Rocks and minerals. As you may already know, the Earth's crust is made up of rocks. If you look closely at rock, you see that there are many different bits. These bits are shiny. The main idea is that all these components occur naturally. In other words, they are not made in a factory or by human being. The naturally occurring elements or compound is known as mineral, or is simply a rock contain high percentage of a certain mineral. For example, hematite contains a high percentage of iron. The earth crust are made up of three types of rock. They are igneous rock, sedimentary rock, and metamorphic rock. Let's discuss about them. The word igneous has been derived from a Latin word that is ignis, which means fire. These rocks are associated with volcanic eruptions. Let's study more about igneous rock and how they are formed. The liquid rocks matter that is coming out as a volcano is called magma. It is a hot liquid made of melted minerals. When this magma reaches the earth's surface, it is known as lava, as shown over here. The cooling and solidification of lava at the earth's surface resulted in the formation of extrusive igneous rocks, which are also known as volcanic rocks. Due to rapid cooling, their crystals are fine grained. However, some of the magma cannot come out and settles inside the surface, as shown over here. The magma cooled slowly beneath the earth's surface as it is completely surrounded by soil and rock. The cooling and the solidification of the magma at the depth within the earth's crust resulted in the formation of rocks having large crystals known as intrusive igneous rocks. So, we learned that igneous rocks are of two types: extrusive igneous rocks and intrusive igneous rocks. It is interesting to know that the igneous rocks were first to be formed and are also known as primary rocks. Over time, the rocks are broken down by weathering effects like water, wind, heat, or ice. Small fragments known as sediments wash into lakes, rivers, and sea. Here, layers of sediments are compact and cement together over millions of years to form sedimentary rock. Limestone is the other kind of sedimentary rock. It is formed from the dead aquatic animals or chemical reaction within the sediments. Did you know the ground beneath our feet is constantly moving? The continents and oceanic crust are pushing, pulling, and sliding in the process known as plate tectonics, and they form heat and pressure that squeezes rocks, changing their form. Minerals under such intense pressure are changed into metamorphic rock. Slate, marbles are the example of metamorphic rock. Now let's talk about rock cycle. This is the picture of a rock cycle. So now rocks remains same with time, pressure and other natural force they form. Remembered, we call igneous rocks as primary rocks. The reason is because they are directly formed from the magma and lava when this molten material solidifies. So anything that is basically formed from the basic ingredient of the earth is termed as to be as primary rock. The sedimentary and the metamorphic rocks are called as secondary because they are formed from igneous rocks. You see, igneous rock is the reason why sedimentary and metamorphic rock exist. Let's understand the cycle. Magma coming out of the mantle through volcanic eruption. Now this magma cools down and becomes solid crystal, and that is how igneous rocks are formed. Now as time passes, various weathering agents like wind, rain, glacier activities acts on this igneous rock, and they slowly breaks into small pieces called sediments. And these small sediments are buried under layers over layers with time and pressure. They cement together into sedimentary rock. So that was the formation of sedimentary rock from igneous rock. Now this sedimentary rock had the tendency to break into smaller soil particles or sediment. Now we need to know how metamorphic rocks are formed. When Earth's tectonic plates move around, it produces heat and pressure. When the plates converges, they form mountains, and that also produces tremendous amount of heat and pressure. Now we know from where the heat and pressure comes from. What does this heat do the rocks? It transforms into the metamorphic rock. That's why you see more amount of metamorphic rock in mountain region. With nature forces, that is natural forces like wind and water, this metamorphic rock can again be broken into sediment and sediment to sedimentary rock. The rock cycle never stops. The metamorphic and the igneous find their way into the mantle through subduction. It happens when the two plates converges and then one plate goes under another. In this way, all igneous and metamorphic rocks find their way to the mantle. And we know mantle consists of molten rocks called magma. And again magma comes out of the surface through volcanic activity. So this is the rock cycle. So here we end with this chapter. I hope you will have understood the concepts of this chapter. Thank you.